Welcome back, everyone. I want to show you my exact high-level system for prioritizing deal management to make sure that I am always maximizing my time, always maximizing the efficiency of my system to make sure that I'm always making as much money as possible for minimum time spent, or I'm always making the maximum amount of money possible for the same unit of time spent. I'm very big on efficiency, I'm very big on leverage, and this is how we make it happen. So, back in the UK, last time I caught up, I was in Austria. We were out there for a ski trip. Between then, I've done Paris and then came back home for Christmas, back to the UK. There's still a couple of working days left before everyone that I'm going to be talking to is going to be clocked off. The majority of people are going to be clocked off. And for that reason, you'll know this if you work in sales, December is kind of a funny month because we basically only got 2 to 3 weeks, depending exactly on how you look at it. So very important that we absolutely maximize those first 2 to 3 weeks in order to take the same benefit out of the month as a whole, right? To extract the same amount of value out of the month as a whole. In truth, we're always trying to be efficient. We're always trying to manage time effectively. It's a big part of what I do, but absolutely essential at times like this when you know communications are going to be tough going forward. And this is how I manage it. So just a bit of context for this, first of all. I think efficiency and prioritization makes a massive part of what we do at two distinct levels, right? So the first that I want to break down today is going to be the actual day-to-day, what are we doing right now? What is the most important task I can be doing right now, which is most likely to bring me the most amount of money for the time I'm going to spend on that task? At a higher level, though, that same philosophy applies to the whole concept of remote closing, basically, right? Because what we're doing by operating in this field, by remote closing for online businesses, is we are optimizing for efficiency, okay? I used to work in tech sales, and that was not optimized for efficiency. There are massive overheads in that business. There is so much of your day that has to be spent basically pandering to the rules of the game, okay? You have to spend time having your check-in meeting, right? You have to spend time commuting to the office if you commute. You have to spend time being cordial with the people around you and chit-chatting so you're not just the complete loser in the office who appears to be being rude to everyone, right? And I'm obviously slightly tongue-in-cheek with that one, but you get the point, right? What frustrated me so much about the corporate 9-to-5 grind was how much time I was basically wasting on tasks that didn't directly relate to putting revenue into the business and putting money into my pocket. So that philosophy really trickles down from the very top, right? That is why I'm in remote sales and closing now. It's why I do it for small, highly profitable, highly efficient internet businesses. But that same philosophy also bleeds through into the day-to-day. So let me show you this, right? This is essentially how I manage my day. Now, there's two key systems that you're going to be using day to day, right? The first is a CRM where we actually track every single deal that we're working on, and we track what stage that deal is at, and we track when the next key date is on that deal, right? The next time that we're going to have to check in and make something happen on that deal. This isn't that. This actually sits a little bit higher than that in my eyes in terms of priority. This is where I will list deals in specific categories based on how close they are to closing. Okay, very, very important, because the first thing that I'm going to be focusing on every day isn't the hardest tasks, it's actually going to be the easiest tasks, okay? Or at least it's going to be the lowest hanging fruit, right? What we want to do is we want to totally prioritize deals, conversations, text message threads, if that's the way you're doing it, etc. We want to prioritize those tasks which are the closest to bringing us money, right? The low-hanging fruit. We want to focus on those because that is going to give us the best return on investment for our time that is possible. So this is how the tree goes, right? First is about to close. These are deals that are either red hot prospects where you know they're warmed up, you know that they are basically ready to go, they just need to have that final chat and then it's done, or they are the deals that are close to spending money. There's just some sort of technical aspect in there that we need to solve in order to make it happen, or logistical aspect. Right, the next is close to closing. The next is going to be potential to close soon. And then we've got nurture, and then we've got new deals, right? And these last two, to be honest with you, are managed primarily in the CRM, which is the other system that I mentioned. Okay, these are deals that we've got dates on to follow up on. But the bleeding edge of this, right, the pointy end of the game, if you want, is about to close and close to closing. And these deals, regardless of whether, okay, so say the prospect said to you, right, we can talk about this on Tuesday and it's currently Monday. I don't care, right? I want this to be front and center of my attention anyway, because if any tiny small thing changes in that, or if there is any chance that by some circumstance I can move that forward for any other reason, I don't want to be pushing it back for any time whatsoever. Okay, these are the deals that are simply the closest to putting money in your pocket, and I want to treat them with utmost priority accordingly. Okay, there's I could think of, I'm sure, some sort of self-help adage about where your attention is should be the most important thing. Again, this is basically it, right? Pay attention to the money, pay attention to the deals that are the closest to closing. And I will literally, before I do anything else with my day, we'll look at this list. This is updated daily. And I'll say, okay, these 3 deals that are about to close, I need to check in with that conversation thread. I need to drop them a reminder. I need to make sure that if there's nothing I can do physically to move that forward, at least it is front and center of my attention, and those things absolutely aren't being missed. And then you basically form a delta down from those towards the bottom of this. As I said, nurture and new leads are going to be handled primarily via the CRM, okay? Because these are lower priority, right? These are further down the progression of actually paying you. So if you manage your day in this way, right? If you are always focusing, number one, front and center, highest priority, whichever other way you want to put it, on the deals that are the closest to giving you money, you will make sure that you're maximizing your time, you're working with maximum efficiency, and you will make more money this way, because it's sales, right? Something can always change. We're dealing with people. People's circumstances can change, their schedules can change. Just make sure that you are always focusing, number one, on the deals that are the closest to closing, the lowest hanging fruit. And then from there, what we're really trying to do with this system is just make sure that we are putting the reps in, right? Particularly with nurture and new leads. I want to be careful with my words here, because I think it's very important to focus on the micro, right? The day-to-day, the improving skills, improving your communication, etc. But ultimately, we're in a numbers game. You can always win on numbers, virtually always, unless you're doing something massively wrong, right? But a big part of that is time management and its organization, so that things aren't getting missed. When I worked in big corporate sales, it was mind-blowing to me how many of the other reps that I was working with weren't able to keep up basic CRM hygiene, okay? And that is basically just keeping your schedule updated so that you're not missing stuff that is, it should be right in front of you, okay? But if you're in a good situation where you're dealing with a lot of leads, it's a good place to be, but you want to make sure that those are getting hit up with regular touch points. You're recording that, and you're keeping track of how that is all managed so that nothing gets missed. Because it's the opposite of this is basically you're missing money that is on the table, right? That's ready to go. So there you go. That is literally how I manage my day. Okay, this list, I'm not going to put the names of actual leads, actual prospects on there for obvious reasons, right? But this is what I'm looking at every morning. First thing when I wake up, we want to break momentum. We want to get into our stride. This is what we start with. Which are the deals that are the closest to closing, to giving me money? And the next step to this is putting a dollar value on that. First of all, of what the revenue is from all these deals cumulatively, right? If I've got 3 in this, I want to add up what they're all worth and what the total is worth in about to close. And I'm also going to write down the total of what my commission is going to be from closing those deals, because it's like carrot in front of the donkey, right? I want to bring that, once again, front and center in my attention, okay? If I deal with these 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, leads in about to close, this is how much money I'm going to make in terms of revenue, and this is how much money I am going to make. And that is updated every single day without fail, because we are prioritizing for efficiency. So there you go. I hope you found that helpful. That is a glimpse into how I manage my day, how I manage my time efficiently. CRM hygiene, CRM management, very, very important, but also this high priority hit list of the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest money, the closest deals to closing. If you manage your day like that, I promise you will make more money and you will spend less time doing it. At least you're going to waste a lot less time like this. As always, hope you found that interesting. Plenty more to come. Catch you in the next one.